Prop it up. The angle.
יש לנו כאן, אתה רואה את זה. אנחנו יכולים לעשות הכל בלי זה, אחר כך תקבל את הזה. זה יותר קל, לא?
Then again, she is giving. She gave for the last almost 8 decades of her life, and she's going to give it. She gave to her parents, took care of Umi all the years, put her husband through Kailo. Tens of thousands of Eden learned Torah because of that. She gave to her children, her Enikla, her nephews and nieces. Whoever she knew. She gave and she gave and she gave. And when we bring her to the table, we're going to say the words of Eishes Chayil and how passive. Every word describes her life. She was on the one hand, she was an Eishes Chayil. She was part of a Chayil. She never saw herself as miyuchad. She was doing her job. Berachot metninim mikra. Mikra doesn't mean the price. Mikra means the ability to sell. You couldn't sell tatachani for anything. Peninim was meaningless to her. Money that other people had, that she had, it was a non-entity. It was rachik. It wasn't that she had to fight off the appeal of it. It was right. It wasn't part of her universe. And it was Batach Bal Lev Bala in 1960, when it was unheard of for a wife to travel an hour and a half each way to work, so that her husband could sit in Kailo. And we started shelling. V'sholol, as Rav Shabbat Hirsch teaches, the surprise of getting something that you don't deserve, lo yechzar, by her. Who didn't she take care of? Who didn't she take care of? Who didn't she die about? And who was another one, and another one, and another one. And it was Gemalasu Toiv Veloira, Gemalasu Veloshan Goymer Chasad Toiv. She wasn't an Isa Chesed. She was a Goymer Chesed. A Goymer Chesed is beyond Gomal as Yitzchak, to make the recipient of your Chesed not dependent on you. Nobody owes you anything. Nobody's dependent on you. It's Gemalasu. It's Gemila. There's no tie anymore. Nobody feels B'chuyev. And it was Gemalasu Toiv V'loi Ra. How many people do we know who do Chasadim? But they do Chasadim, and then they get insulted, then they get hurt, and then they expect a little appreciation, and then how could somebody do this to me? There was no Ra, there was nothing in that Chesed except pure doing for someone else, a total negation of herself, only diving for you. There was no expectation, there was no Midas Royce involved there. It was all Veloy. It wasn't just Toiv, it was Veloy Ra. And it was Kol Yemei Chayeha. She knew her whole life as a child. I remember before she got married, and as she got older, and until the last Shabbos of her life. It was Kol Yemei Chayeha. Every day of that full life. And she was above by Yom, and now she comes to the Eibishter with every single day of her life. It was Dorsha Tzemra Ufishtim. Some Sefer explains the Drush of Tzemra Ufishtim is the Issa Klayim. There was no Taruvas, not in her family, not in her doing, not in her home, not in anything she did. There was no Taruvas of Zich. There was no taruvas of wrong cheshbonis, and there was no taruvas of the treifa shtot and the treifa gas. And it was vatas, chayfetz, kapera. The Malbim explains the difference between rotzen and chayfetz. Rotzen is a deep-seated understanding. Chayfetz is a natural, what I want to do. But she didn't just do because she understood. Her kapera, the kaf is the giving part of the hand. That was chayfetz kapera. That was, she made it part of her existence. Part of her reality was that her kapayim gave. She was a giver. And she understood she was kaniyah seicher. Mr. Sharm explains that the yam is like the understanding of Yenevelt. That if you don't prepare the Yabashi, you're not going to have. And she was Mimerchak Tavilach, but she understood her whole life that she's not living for this world. And what did she do? The Karen, the beautiful children, she gave birth to and raised. The Karen, she's the Eshkecha Kegefen Korea. It was where it was Mipri Kapeh Natacharim. She planted that. The good sky and her children and her Eniklach was from the Pri Kapayim of her giving nature. And this she gave over to her children, to her Eniklach. And when it was difficult, and it was difficult, it was Chabra B'Oizmastel, it was Vata'ametz, it was a strength that wasn't necessarily there, befrat physically in the last couple of years, but she forced it. And it was the Kappa parcel of Adi. She could see a little boy in the street and say to him, "Why are you cold? You don't have a coat? Come on, buy you a coat." And bring that boy into the house and raise him. And not just a little boy. That little boy was a paradigm of everyone who took care of. And the Yadel Shilchalev, when it wasn't her kappa, but what she said to take care of. And Leisira, Levesa, Mishalek, Yichalbesa, Lofushanim, Shamshafal Hirsch explains, the Mishpacha was covered. They were warm. They were warmed because she took care of them, but for herself she didn't need it. Chalbesa, Lofushanim, but for herself it was Marvadim, Asas Allah, Sheshvar, Gama Levusha, not warm clothing, but she was warm because she continually did and took care and the chesed for her sister, for her nephews and nieces, for her mother, for the whole world, for everyone who she was able to be in touch with. And Leisira Levesa Mishalek, Shalek is the when it's snowing and it's cold and it's painful. Nobody in her home feared for the difficulties of life because she was always there with a smile, with a warmth, with a good word, with a encouragement. And it was Noida Bashar and Bala, Nasan Zutzai, is Noida Bashar and Bashar and Srihan Bala. How many tens of thousands of Yidden today are learning because of what he wrote, and because of what he makes happen, and learning not just once, but a whole life. Whether it's the Siddur, it's the worship, it's the Gemara, it's the Shais, whatever it is. And where did that come from? That night of Bashar and Bala? Because she was voice of definition, and it was not yet in style that he should sit and learn. And now it's B'Shifta in Ziknei Eretz, with the Ziknei Tamina Chachamim. Who knows whose Arvotz's Torah was more broad-based, was more effective. And the children of these people who learn because of Atzbro are now sitting and learning in Mati Yeshivas. First class, big chaylik. Oiz v'hana levusha. The levush of a person are his mice and pleasure. When we say HaKadosh Baruch Hu, his levesh tzedakos. The levush was oiz, it was powerful, and it was hadar, as the Mepharshim explained, reflecting. Hadar is a reflection of the needs of someone else. Piha pascha b'chachma, she had an ability to think and to understand another person. What is that person thinking? What does he need? And it was Torah's chesed al Shayna. Chesed wasn't just I'm doing chesed. It was a Torah. How can I do it? How can I take care of that family? How can I take care of that mishpacha? How can I take care of that karav? That he doesn't even chak what's going on. That he doesn't even understand that I'm giving to him or to her or sending a child to camp or paying tuition or buying clothing or whatever the case may be. It's a Torah's chesed al Shayna. And that's why now, when she's going to meet Umi, and she's watching, Sophia Alicha's basis, she's watching how her house, how her children, how her Einikla, how her Einikla are going forward. Why? Because it was lechem atzlus loy cycle for almost 80 years. She did not rest for a second. There's no namet kisufa in the lechem that she's eating now. And therefore, it's kamu baneh by Yeshua, by their very being, Look at the children. Levaya, look at her husband. It's a hallelujah. Hashem b'chayei. By his very essence, he is one hallel for Tatachani. And it's Rabbi's Bonois Asu Chayil, now that she's being reunited with her mother, and the daughter is coming in, whom we will say to her, Rabbi's Bonois Asu Chayil, Bat Olis Al Kulona, because Sheker Hachein, Behevel Hayoifi, she understood this, and what did we see? What did she teach us? And she's still giving to us, that Isha Yiras Hashem Hitis Alo. The tefillah is, now that she's going to the Yeshiva Shel Mala, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we ask him, Tenula Yodeh, give her the payers of those close to 80 years, the children, the Eidiklach, the Chasadim, and in the Sha'arim, in the Sha'ar Shamayim, the Hallelujah, Basharim, Masel.
The schus to stand here. Masmid Tatachani. I married the family. My wife is a Scherman, a niece. I met her Nelson in camp a few years before I got married. I was attracted to the Mishpacha. I would drop in on Lil Shabbos as a bocher, as a Tavadas. Drop in and watch Mishpachas Scherman on 54th Street. Watch this. He wasn't yet the famous Uncle Nelson. He was the famous Camp Tavadas, and Tamima, and Stone. He wasn't yet world famous, but to me he was something very special. I wanted to see what's in his house. And I watched, I saw such a bias. Such these people look at such chinuch. And I ran after Uncle Nelson. He was Uncle Nelson, Rabbi Scherman. And I was zoicher to enter in his family and get to know my Tatachani and Uncle Nelson from the inside. This was knowing that this Tatachani have now an opportunity to express a chorus at which I probably never had the opportunity for your lifetime because you never wanted to hear it. How much you gave to my wife as a young girl. She spent years in your home, out of town. She slept in your home. She was soifek. She saturated herself with the kedushas abayis, with the chinuch. She saw from you what a Yiddish mama is, what a mother is, what a mechaneches. I owe you my home because everything we have in our home is emulating what Sarah learned from you on those special years that she was zeicha to be in your home with your tire kindlech. When we made our ben in your sukkah of our first son. We're living in Yisroel now for 30 years, but every year I've had a schus. You opened up your doors to me like everybody else. You took it, but me, I felt like I was a ben yochid. You gave me your car. You gave me your house. Whenever, key to the house, come in whenever you want, shmuel. Whenever I come in, there's a meal on the table. I saw your chesed to me. It was half of a fella. And then I saw a lot of other people in your house. What steht in Mishnah? Mishnah says in Office, Arba means ba'adam, the different types of people. Shali, shalach, shalach. The chassid is shali, shalach, v'shalach, shalach. What's mine is yours, and what's yours is yours. Rashi says in that Mishnah, Koloima, Lahafki l'cha et shali, v'chalili l'kabel shalcha. Lahafki shalcha et shali. Totally hefker to everybody else. I'm hefker to you. I'm not taking anything from you, Khalil, but I'm hefker to you. I watched this woman over these years. What? Like Rabbi Klukman, like Elmer said, no, gave and gave and gave. Never took, only gave. Shali shalach v'shalach shalach. V'shtei the Gemara we learned yesterday in the Daf Yomi on the day of Petira. The Gemara says, Brachos in Shabbos, Al ne'lova me'enu oilvim, shonim cheposim ve'enu meshivim. You're insulted, you don't answer back, you don't even feel insulted. You hear your cherpa, no response. For most of the years, I've seen the first part of this by Chazal. All these people that you had in your house. So many times I was present to hear such abuse, such taking advantage of you. And you answer with a shmeichel. They would say some of these people that came in were not necessarily the most cultured or most sensitive people. And whatever they said, however they said it, you never took it personally. It was unbelievable. Never got angry, never lost it. Total chesed, total ashko. But this all goes together with Mikabel Yisurim, Smegim Yisurim. Last 2 years, I mean, it came as a total shock to most of us that you were even sick b'chlal to the last half a year maybe. No one knew. Mikabel Yisurim, you kept it a total secret. You went on your life, your chasodim, with all your things. Nobody knew. At least we, the outsiders. I was in the house every year, including last year. I came this year. I didn't come to the house for Shabbos because I knew it was difficult, but Uncle Nazir met me in shul on Friday night and said, "Shul, come over." And I was reluctant, I was mistaken. Should I come over? Should I not? I passed the house. I was walking by. I said, "I'm not going in. I'm not going to bother her. She's not feeling well. I know she's not well." But Uncle Nazir said, "Shul, come in." So I said, "Shul, you better come in now. You might not have another opportunity." I'm not going to do a little Shabbos at 9:30. He had Uncle Nazir answered the door, and Chani was sitting at the table with him. They were discussing Parsha Shavua. As soon as I came in, she brought out the cake and the pistachios and the drink. We were sitting there and talking to Chani 2 months ago, like she was gesund. Shmuel, how's your family? How's the kids? It was just such such nobility, such atzilus. She was different with the week of Parshas Vayachid, the Petira and the Avinu, giving his tzavot to his children. The pasuk says, "Vayisov Yamanuch Kitoyim, Vayemshech Mol Nisbon." It's a stira. Yamanuch Kitoyim, that's menucha, the easy life. Vayemshech Mol Nisbon is taking the hard life. So the Spartans say, Yamanuch Kitoyim, the menucha. A Yid sees the menucha, that menucha, sitting in an easy chair. Menucha Kitoyim, is menucha Zalam Haba. That's the real menucha. Menucha Shalom, what we say by Menucha Shabbos. Shalom b'Shalom. Emes the menucha. Ephraim told me that he never saw his mother maybe the last kufa sitting on a couch. She had a nice couch, a beautiful, comfortable couch. She said, "That's not for me." She sat on her chair with her art school books and read and studied and learned. She was always into muskalos, tapes, listening to shiurim forever. But sitting on the easy chair, that menucha, not for me. But the pshat is another pshat. Menucha Kitoy means calm. Total calm, menucha, easy going, everything is fine. Never harried, never overwhelmed, totally on top of things. Menucha Kitoy, menucha is a nefesh. She was Vayeshech Mol Nisbon L'Tachlis Admila, unbelievably involved in so many million things. For the tzibur, for Hashem. Uncle Nazir is like gesund. So dedicated to everything and everybody. But Yitchach Molizbol, working for people, doing things for all types of people that was not looking for them, she did it anyway. Always, everything is fine, everything is wonderful. Menucha is a nefesh. A dark, the race, Yisroel, the Yisroel, and how the last week, the last 100 hours, we're talking about the last 5 days in the hospital. I spoke to Frank's wife yesterday. She said, Shmuel, if we thought she was great, if we thought we knew Eretz until today, now we now got a hagsaga of her godless, of her beauty, of her emerson beauty, of her midas, of her niflik midas, that oisgarat midas for 70 years. It's Adam Rebbe Acharon should be made with the gewaltige midas, his chashmas, consideration for everybody else in the world. Such godless. Vayikhu Yimei Yisroel Lamus, our Chaim explains, Vayikhu Yimei Yisroel Lamus, Yimei Yisroel Lamus means every day of your life is a nitzitz of your neshama. And every day of your life, your nitzitz goes up to Shamayim. And it depletes you. As you go through life, your neshama gets smaller and smaller. Your nitzitz and neshama go up to Shamayim every day. And at the end of life, Vayikhu Yimei Yisroel Lamus, all the days come back. They come together to greet and meet and take that last nitzitz. And at that rega, all the Yitzhak Se'achayim, all Yemei Chayeva come together. Toysef Rucham Yigvon Yalachorim Yeshuvah. There's a gewaltige Toysefes Ruach by Tzadikim, by the grace of Yid, by grace of the Shamans, by Shvabeinu David Yerosai, by Yaakov Avinu, all the prophets to his children. Vayikhu Yimei Yisrael Lamus, all his days, all those days that were oiskinus. Like Early Bear said, oiskinus the tag, every single day, yoink yoink. Baruch Hashem, yoink yoink. Vayikhu Yisrael Lamus, and that, B'soif Yomecha, so in Russia, B'soif Yom, when all the days come together, days of issues and Ma'asim Roim, he goes Meshuggah, B'tapesh. Tzadikim are zoichet be b'silas adas at hasoif. They become gewaltige begikus, gewaltige giluyim of incredible clarity. In Chani, what I heard is that they were begawa such gewaltige, what we saw, what the Mishpach was zoichet to see, was all your life in one entity, all together. Yiguz and Lamus, everything together, shleimus in every respect. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Chama, your husband, your dedication. But to watch that, what a shtuk to watch every time I came and see it. Such a bias, unbelievable dedication. Like we just heard. Chazazer's life is in the stark. We mischazik. Mishpacha needs you to be stark. The mom should fight to be the manning of his family. The children will forever going to remember all your midas, toivas, your nifloid, the mysterious nefesh for everything to call Dovish and Kedusha. I should be zoichet to give over to my children what I've been zoichet to see all these years. Tatachai. I should be zoichet. God ate that element with all your mice and toy, all your young shleilim. We should be zoichet to the grace of the chamas. The hemshech of you, the doiris of you, the tayar kinder and will be the biggest source for you as you go with Mala. God ate.
Bubby, you ended the ask that one of us should speak. So I apologize for speaking like this in front of you. But what were you prepared to do for your enemy? One might ask that I'm just married to your enemy. Maybe not really 1 year. Bubby, you yourself said this past Shabbos that you don't like the words in-laws. Every single one of us in Mishpacha can testify that you truly felt like you were your Beinah. You treated us with the warmth and honor that you had for every single one of your children. Bubby, you were a true Bas Melech, a princess. On the one hand, so very humble and senua. You never did anything, everything, no, just handled it. At the same time, so regal, aristocratic, carrying within you the royal blood from generations of tzaddikim, rabbanim, where you came from. Even recently, Bubby, when I saw you in Scherman when I was in New York, as weak and as frail as you were, you still carried yourself with the same classic dignity. You welcomed me with your special warmth and simcha. You cared so much about every single one of your enemies. As far away as we were from you. And I ask you for mechila for keeping your enemies so far away from you for the last 8.5 years. But you constantly carried us in your heart. Always buying things for the children and sending packages. Whenever you heard somebody was going to come, you take something by any. Even now, Bubby, when you no longer have the courage to go out and shop for things by yourself. I was in New York, so you sent a check. We should buy toys for your Kinderlich. And you said that make sure you buy them flakes, because winter's coming. It's going to be raining and cold. They're going to have to stay indoors. They won't be able to go outside. They should have something to play with. Whenever we came in for Yantif, you were always popping into the house with food and activities. The children aren't in school. They need something to keep them busy. You were always there, brother. Every year of Shabbos, the Simcha and the Ahava, you showed to your enemies when they would call you to wish you good Shabbos. You think that nobody else had called except for that man. Whichever enemy was calling you, was Gamsa Simcha up. Will always remain with us. I'll never forget the days we were able to stay in your house and see from close up how true Gedolim live their lives. I say the Torah Speakers always says that the one thing we have a hard time learning from our Gedolim and Rabbeim is marriage, Shalvayis, because we don't get to see them in their homes and private lives. Bubby, with you, and the other time we were zeicher to see what true Shalom Bayis is, to really see two people that live for one another, not for themselves. Bubby, you always give your life for others, personifying true selflessness. But for all of your chesed, and even though other people spoke about it, but there's one that really sticks out in my mind. You had an open home. But a real open home. Not just for guests, not just for mishpacha, but open to those unfortunates that nobody else wants to welcome into their homes. Every time we came for Pesach, we'd always have us over for a Suda, just us by ourselves, to spend their own private time with Zadie and Bubby. But your special guests are always there with us. Because if not, where will they be? Who else is going to feed them? And we got to witness firsthand how you treated them with patience and respect, making them feel like it's something of a kid that they really are. Bubby, you're a true living Musa Sefer. The Kleinstone needs a book written about Rebbe Scherman, so we can all learn from your ways, learn from your godless. Bubby, this last kufa, your true godless shone forth like the shining sun. The Dachalitza could say on the pasuk, could say Sashemesh, but also could say Sashemesh, when the sun is coming out to its final place where it will shine, we're also zeicher to see its gevura and greatness. If the last kufa wasn't godless, then I don't think we know what godless is. There's something very special missing in this world now, a vast void where Bubby once stood. It's our achrayus, the eniglich, the kinder, to learn from your ways, and to step up, to open our hearts, to open our homes. It's not enough to open your home. If your home is open, your heart's not open, and your home is closed. But we need to open our hearts and our homes and truly try to live for another year, not just for ourselves. To be honest, care and think about each other so you look down and smile, watching your family follow you in your ways. The animation is Chaya. You say, Adolus al-Kulona, the mountain writes about you, Bubby. Ulachem Tinula, if you're there, give it from the fruits of your hands, with the Kabul star Gadol, it's Chusar Rabbi. Bubby, Chusar Rabbi was telling you, I don't think they realize it, but Ruba de Ruba, Klal Yisroel, needs to be Misabel, because the source of the Torah comes from you. And you want to have to say it, the Haluk B'Shar Masah, the mountain, B'Shar Shmuel B'Rocha, with the Teferes B'Shari HaChochma, B'Atzedakah B'Shari B'Atzrabim, loving and nice will live on forever. I heard from the Baba Rose, by the Brooklyn of Tolsha, I don't remember who he said it over from, one of the Gedolim. The big Zach out of Mayim, steht the Pasuk, Harchik Nesachitu Lolaches, Atiru Vadi. The Neshama comes up to Shemayim, his name is Rashkina, the Vater is a Heichen Neshama, Meister Teuden. And it goes up and up, you get lost in the light, in the closest to Yisroel Shalom, haben gesagt, Harchik Nesachitu Lolaches, Atiru Vadi. Don't go so far, don't forget us, down for us. Loving come to Shemayim, and you have a beautiful Kabbalah spot waiting for you. Your Elton, you say this, your Shabbos of Paul Bish, coming to be Bekabel, the people that went in their ways. Bobby, don't forget us. Should be able to see Yoshe. For Zayden is long as you should have a kind to go right there. Because Klal Yisroel cannot manage without it. For your sister and brother, for your Mishpacha, the Kinder, the Eretz, the Mishpacha, for ganz Klal Yisroel. And Bobby, when you go up there, take your Zaydens. Und geht zum Kiesel HaKavod, ist das zusammen, wie jemand zu erzählen, da, manche in Scheiß. Das hat ist jemand, kann schon nicht weitergehen. So geht mal schreien, die Welt. Klal Yisroel sagt, Nafshi Himmel Amaloi, Vata Hashem Ad Mosai. Bubby, you always lived for others. It's the game for Klal Yisroel. We should be zeicher, you keep to Ram, Shech, the Alpha, and Bila loves the Netzach, the Wafel Shem, the Alpha.
Mommy, it's time for us to say goodbye. This will be the last testament before Kura. We're in a different country, the language is different, many will not understand what I'm saying about you. But that is the way you would have wanted it. At every Simcha Makati would want to thank you in the speech. You would shrug and say enough, because you do not want to be spoken about. No one should be talking about your accomplishments. So here we are, miles from your home. I am saying Divrei Hesed, I'm talking about you. But Hashem made it that I'm speaking in a foreign language. It's as if we're not talking about you. This Hesped is no question, is Yikrat Mason. Your children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren are all here.
children who learn in the finest yeshivas in Yerushalayim, you who are the grandchild of Reb Shamshon Hirsch, and as you come up to Shemayim, he for sure will be become upon you, that you can stand proud and show him, these are the generations that you produced. How his Messiah went from Germany to the United States, and then to Yerushalayim. Look at all the children, look at all the grandchildren, look at the great-grandchildren, not just retired mitzvahs, but children sitting on the Torah, on the Bible, all the days of their life. The family chain, despite going through the challenges of the Holocaust and modern-day America, has not been broken. What an accomplishment. I'm sure the Zayda is standing proud, thankful for what you did. The last few months you suffered tremendously, yet you continue to do chesed to the best of your ability. It was in you, you just wanted to do chesed, but the pain was so great. You couldn't even walk anymore, you couldn't take a few steps, but you had to do chesed. You would get into your car, you could barely walk to the car. What you had to help the people who were counting on you. You would get into the car and drive. And if there was a parking space in front of the person, to the sick person you were coming to help, you would be able to go in. If not, you would just turn around. That's how hard it was for you. You couldn't even take the few steps, how painful it was for you to walk. You taught us what it means to be a Levaya chesed, to do chesed with your last strength. But that's not the Bubby we want to remember. The one we want to remember is the one that had energy, the one with koyach, the one with one of the greatest hearts in Klal Yisroel. How can we forget? One day you were working still on 13th Avenue in Borough Park, and you saw this teenage boy with no gloves on a freezing day. And most people would just ignore it, but not Mommy. She walked over to the boy. It's a freezing day today. Where are your gloves? And the boy said, I don't have any. So she took him. She worked right near Freund's. She took him into Freund's and bought him a pair of gloves. As she walked out, he asked, did you eat anything? So the boy said, no, I'm starving. So she went ahead and bought him food. A day or two later, she worked on 13th Avenue, and she sees the boy again. And she walks over to him and says, did you eat anything today? No, I'm starving. So again, she takes him to buy food. And then she asked him, what's the situation? It turns out the boy had run away from home, had no place, had nothing. This is a boy that came from a very nice mishpacha, a very dick mishpacha. It didn't work out with his parents. So they brought this boy into his house, into their house. He became part of the family, clothing him, feeding him, doing his laundry, and attending all his needs for many years. Today, this boy moved on. He's married with children. Yesterday, he was in Brooklyn and he sees the sign for the Levaya for Mommy. He came to the Levaya, but he didn't want to be in the back. He should be noticed. He came to sit with the children. He stood with the children in the front. He came to pay his last respects for the mother, who he felt was a mother for him, and put him back on his feet. We want to remember you for all your weekly and daily chasadim. Once a week, you would go to Brighton Beach. There was a blind lady that counted on you to take her shopping. So you would take her down each aisle, taking the food and walking with her. And while leaving her as well, we want to remember how on a regular basis you would wash the floors of the senior citizens. We remember on a daily basis you would provide a royal breakfast for somebody who counted on you.
And when he couldn't come, he would deliver it to his house. And who can forget the knocks on the door in the middle of the night when we lived on 54th Street. And we opened the door and there stood a neighbor, a wife, whose husband would beat her on a constant basis. And it was you who gave her a place in the home. And any time she had to run, she would come to you. Other neighbors did not want to let her in because her husband would come searching and they were scared of the husband. But your heart was too great to let fear get in the way of helping. We learned from you how chesed begins with your own family. You are a role model for us with the respect and the care that you showed for Umi. The role of caring for your mother fell upon you, your brother and your sister, at a young age when you're raising your own children. Yet you did it with such love and dedication. The children could sense it. And it dropped off on all of us. We all became part of Umi's life. We wanted to spend the time with her, enjoy her company. We saw how dedicated you were to her, with her health, with the doctors, and making sure that all her health needs were taken care of. You did this not just for days, weeks, and months, but for year after year. It just took one daughter to take care of our mother for over 20 years. Yet it took us 16 children to take care of our mother for 3 months. Mommy, we tried to emulate you, but we were not able to reach the other steps. Your love for each one of us was something we felt. Your genuine smile was always there to support us. You took interest in the needs of every child, grandchild, nephew, niece, and were there to help. We always remember your Hanukkah parties, how each child had to receive a present from Bubby directly. Each gift was thought about and planned. Every Yom Tov, you would go shopping so that every child, grandchild, should have something new for Yom Tov. Al-Eila, Ami Bachir, Eini, you're the demon. You saw it in Hayinu. How great is our loss. While you are being escorted to a lofty place in Gan Eden, we have to go on without you. You're being buried down the road from Mama Rachel. When the Eden went to Golis, she was the mama for Klal Yisroel. The Rebbeinu Shalom was maftiach her. The Tfilas will be miskabo, and we showed the blood in the Gula. Mama, you too were a mama not just for your children and grandchildren, but the hundreds in Klal Yisroel who became part of your heart. We ask of you that you go down for the hundreds, if not thousands, that your heart touched. Down for your children, for your grandchildren and great-grandchildren. They should be gesund, they should have pronos and nachas from the kids. Down for Tati, that he should be active, he should have the strength to continue to be our guide, to be the guide of Klal Yisroel. He should have a richas yom mishonim, a yishud achas, to lead us, to lead Klal Yisroel. We should have the kayach to be able to withstand this tremendous loss we have suffered. We should be zeicher, to be shabbat on the kulam, while I'm going to